Welcome to the Finisher, a podcast about professional wrestling and all things, well, wrestling. Here are your hosts, Jerry Pickering and Dan Nawrocki.
And we're back. I know you're wondering what the hell. This is not Saturday. We are usually weird here on Saturdays. I know. But Dan, he had stuff going on yesterday where he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, yesterday was a long day, which, whatever.
And we figured, screw it. We're gonna be here tomorrow night, so tonight, for Payback because why not put pay-per-views back to back? Trying to kill us.
Psychology. Oh, shit! I can't steal that from someone else.
So we're back. So we decided we're gonna do it. We'll do it, Sunday afternoon instead of doing it yesterday afternoon because we'll be ready to do the podcast or the pay-per-view stream later this evening anyway. So why not just do them both in the same day? Whatever.
So you're gonna want to make sure you're back here around right around 7 o'clock is probably when we'll get started as the show itself gets started.
Yep.
We have a thing about pre-show matches.
We don't care.
We'll pick it, but not enough. I'll have it on the background while I'm finishing dinner. I'm not gonna go out of my way to avoid it. Although I would like to avoid that one guy's choice of fashion. My God, it looks like the 70s threw up all over him.
Who's that?
The curly-haired dude.
I think I'll stay.
I don't know. Who's also supposed to be a podcaster or something, or has a radio show.
Oh, Sam Roberts.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. That guy. I was hoping you weren't talking about the new commentator on NXT, because you'd have some bad news.
No. Actually, that is something. Before we dive into whatever, let's talk about that a little bit.
I didn't see that on here. That's why I kind of brought it up.
Yeah, I know you sent me a link to the story earlier. And I didn't get a chance to get to it. It happened on Wednesday, so I kind of passed it by. But an interesting point that. Now back to Wade Barrett, known as Stu Bennett, when he was doing stuff for NWA Power, came back to NXT. Do we know if that was like a one-time thing?
I have not
deal?
Found any information. I have been looking. I have seen nothing.
And I say this because, like I said, he was commentating. I know he was under contract with the NWA, who were on hiatus in between the COVID pandemic and the speaking out movement a couple of months ago. The NWA is in a really weird, odd place. But also notice that at next week's All Out pay-per-view with AEW, the NWA Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa, will be challenging for the AEW Women's Championship. So you're seeing guys who were under NWA contracts now being allowed to work elsewhere. Nick Aldis is actually going to defend the title here in September at another promotion's premier pay-per-view. So I'm wondering if it's a case of the NWA either just straight up saying, we are not going to have work for you until 2021 at the very least.
So go ahead.
Let's give you some free reign to go find yourself, and if conflicts start showing up in the future, then we'll renegotiate.
We'll cross that bridge later.
Yeah, I mean, and it's only fair if that's the case, because if you're coming to me and saying I will have no work for you, but you still can't work anywhere else, that also, I mean, I can easily sue the bejesus out of you for that. So. That also may be a preemptive strike.
So from what I know, from what I can tell, his profile is back up on the active roster.
Interesting.
But that doesn't say much because that can be put on and taken off, within a few mouse clicks.
Yeah, I mean that's he's literally active the week they put it on, and may go back into alumni the week that he goes back to whatever else he was doing.
Could be. We'll see. I mean, the next thing see what happens on this coming Wednesday. Is he back as in commentary? We have to wait and find out.
It would be interesting to get him to hear his perspective on the match on Wednesday night's episode.
Yes. So I enjoyed seeing him back on the screen. Another person who came back on the screen this past Sunday, a week ago, surprising everyone, we never saw it coming. And I'll pull a good Michael Cole. The big dog is back. That was my good Michael Cole, but Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam. And now, as of Friday, has an advocate.
What did I say on when we were talking about that Friday night as it was happening? That this offered an opportunity. I don't hate this move. I don't. Even though it involves Roman Reigns, who I do not like, the fact that we are finally getting the heel Roman Reigns. What's sad is that it took these circumstances to finally get them to look at him as a potential heel, despite the fact that 2 years ago he would have been so much better served to be the heel in that Shield breakup. That's neither here nor there. So now that the previously publicly humiliated and fired Paul Heyman, who was dumped off of Raw's creative team in somewhat of a public spat, is now back with him. And they said he was still under talent contract, and we all assumed that meant that when Brock was finally able to come back, we'd see Paul Heyman again.
Paul Heyman needed some money.
Maybe.
But what does this do to The Fiend? Does this make The Fiend a babyface?
That's kind of where everything seems to be pushing to.
Because, no!
Braun is absolutely will finish moving all the way to heel, probably tonight, if he isn't already.
Hurt, heel, hurt, heel. That's his freaking theme song. He can't be a babyface. You got Funhouse.
The thing is, though, he's actually more of a tweener anyway.
Because you got babyface Firefly Funhouse Bray, right, who is the Mr. Rogers of the trio.
And even having those weird heel characteristics, he's way over.
Oh yeah, hugely. He's bigly over.
He is bigly over.
Bigly over.
And the Fiend aspect of it, I think a lot of people do enjoy when the Fiend comes out because they're wanting to see what the Fiend does. It's that kind of character where you want to see what's next. It's not just another, he's going to go out and cut another promo. No, the Fiend promos and vignettes are a whole other thing, and they're actually must-see aspects of whatever show he's on.
Correct. But Paul Heyman tweeted, Paul Heyman tweets at just basically all @. At Roman Reigns, at WWE, at WWE Universe, at WWE on Fox, at BTS, or BT Sport, WWE, at WWE Network, at Fox Sports, hashtag the big dog, hashtag WWE Smackdown, hashtag Smackdown, hashtag WWE Payback. That was his tweet with a link. I'm guessing the link won't click for me. It's just a picture is of the video of him and Roman Reigns where Paul Heyman says, "Believe that." I don't know. But Roman Reigns retweeted it saying, "Been waiting for this for a long time. Here we go."
Well, that seems like he's more kayfabe, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that I had proposed to you, which I think sounds like an incredible story here, is actually the opportunity in the return of Paul Heyman to do the invasion angle and the Nexus angle correct, all in one giant thing. Because they blew both of those shots. Both of those stories were interesting, and then they shot them both in the head right there. Actually, one was the one Cena regrets, killing right there dead in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
But at least, I will say to his credit, at least he recognized that he made a mistake. The unfortunate thing is we're at a time and a place where He never got punished for it. The company never got punished for it. Different eras of wrestling would be different.
And with Roman Reigns' return to SmackDown, brought a huge score in viewership on Friday Night SmackDown, with the ratings going up. This is reports that the Friday Night SmackDown scored an overnight average of 2.18 million viewers, and they brought in 2.2 million viewers for the first hour, and 2.15 for the second, and it also earned a 0.6.
A 0.6. Okay, I was to say, my question is, where did it sit on the night? Because
0.6 in the 18 to 49 demographic for both hours.
There's a couple things to also consider too. Like, this is good. Like, let's but perspective. Like, did it jump because of Reigns being back finally? Probably. Anybody who knew that he had turned heel coming back from SummerSlam wanted to see what was next, so that was a thing. He was also relatively unopposed, so I don't believe I know there were no hockey playoff games. I don't think there were any NBA playoff games. It was a dull Friday, so it had more opportunity to grab some more eyeballs. It's just the way you have to look at. Unfortunately, when you look at ratings like that, you go, "All right, this is awesome. We had a nice big jump. Cool.
Yeah.
Why did that? What helped facilitate that jump? Was it all us? Did the outside forces help? And when those combine, like, okay, we'll take it.
Fox is probably very happy about this.
Oh, they have to be.
They've got to be happy because it's been tanking for so long. It's still not the best ratings, but it's a big jump up in the right direction of where Fox wants it. So they've got to be happy.
They have a big hole to dig out of after the summer of suck, but the
summer of suck, I like it. I'm gonna make that a shirt.
I'm pretty sure that Fox is still at a point where they're like, we're not paying this much money for only 2.5 million eyeballs every week. Like, we have to start popping this thing. So going forward, especially when we start getting back to some semblance of normalcy and they're able to do more, I would not be surprised to hear something along the lines of so-and-so from Fox programming will be joining the writers on the creative team on a weekly basis for SmackDown to kind of push them in some direction.
I can see it. Now they're getting happy. They're probably happy with these ratings. I think USA is going to be happy come Wednesday, because I have a feeling NXT is going to get a big jump in their ratings.
USA will not be happy on Wednesday because USA will not be airing NXT again this week.
Really?
So, Sci-Fi, let's talk some history, but Sci-Fi will get themselves an interesting boost on Tuesday because of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Gotcha. So NXT is moving over to Sci-Fi?
He will move over to Sci-Fi for one more week. We're at a point now that once we get through this round, there won't be that many games going on at the same night. So this should be the end where they have to push to USA. They should be able to handle it over between NBC and NBCSN.
Gotcha. Well, then Sci-Fi is going to be very happy with the ratings for this coming Wednesday.
Now they should. It's hyped a lot to use this phrase.
Reason being,
this right here is a dream match.
Reason being this match is happening, which we'll get to in a second, is because of Karrion Kross being injured, being worse than they thought it was supposed to. They thought it was going to be. What he tore his shoulder.
Yeah, they initially thought he had just separated his shoulder in his title win over Keith Lee at TakeOver, but after having an MRI, they're fearing there's tears, which will require surgery.
Because if it was like a 2 months or whatever, they could work around it, but they're not getting any kind of time frame on this, so they had to strip him from the title.
Yeah, and that's one of those things when we first got the report that it was a separated shoulder. I'm like, okay, that's not ideal. So he's just going to be in vignettes and promos for a month or two before he steps back in the ring.
Yeah.
With it being completely stripped, there's surgery involved, and depending on what it is, 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, my guess was 9 months.
Like I said, he's like, depending on how bad it is, he's probably done for 2020.
2020 is a great year, man.
God, I mean,
and he's just getting going in the company too.
Just getting going, has this huge big momentum, has this like coronation almost, as in, his win signifies the beginning of the next generation of NXT, which is going to come through while everyone else moves on and takes over up on the main roster.
Yeah.
And it gets cut enough at the knees. It's you feel bad for him.
Awful.
Especially because how long did he put his time in it and Impact and have to suffer through that bad period and finally gets to the top and hits an achievement and then
So because of this Tuesday, on Sci-Fi, we're gonna get Tommaso Ciampa, Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole in a fatal 4-way match in a 60-minute Iron Man match. That is going to be an awesome match, and like I was saying, that's gonna boost the ratings just alone for that match, I think.
Let's hope. And you know what the interesting thing is you look at all 4 of those guys, pardon me, and it honestly, and this just sounds like a blow off, but it's not. It doesn't matter who wins. They have tremendous options going forward with all 4 of those guys. And actually, if you look at it, Adam Cole's story is probably the least interesting at this point. The other 3 guys might be able to do more interesting things afterwards.
I mean, Adam Cole's got more stuff to do with Pat McAfee.
Christ, I hope not.
Or maybe Rush Limbaugh next, who knows?
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want anybody showing up at my house with a badge. I refuse to say anything, but I will continue to do this podcast with one half of my brain tied behind my back.
Oh, never mind. So anyway, like I said, it's going to be an amazing match on Tuesday on Sci-Fi, not Wednesday on USA for NXT. Tuesday, Sci-Fi for this 60-minute 60-minute Iron Man match, Fatal 4-Way. Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, Tommaso Ciampa competing for the NXT Championship. I think it'd be a great match.
I can't wait. I'm happy. I'm also happy it's Tuesday, which means it'll hit Hulu on Wednesday, which means I get an extra day ahead to watch it.
And well, we can. I guess none of these guys. I always thought Adam Cole was part of that whole Retribution group.
He still may be.
He still may be. They're not fully, got out there who's in it, but we do have some hints at who could be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, there were some memes, so to speak, that seemed to be...
I think I posted one on our page.
Yeah, and there was some other reporting that seemed to
according to WrestlingNews.co, based on how things are played out for her in NXT, looks like... Oh, wait, hang on, I lost it. Stinging pop-up. Alright, hang on, I gotta pull it back up. It went away. Looks like, I don't know her, but Yim?
Yeah, Mia Yim.
Mia Yim, okay. Because I haven't watched much of the NXT as much as I should have. But Mia Yim could be one of the participants of Retribution. I guess she was shown looking very disturbed that she lost a match, so she wants some retribution. I don't know if that's grasping at straws.
Maybe. I mean, I know size-wise, somebody pegged one of the guys from Raw this week to be Dominik Dijakovic.
Yep, and the other one being, is it Dio or Dio Madden?
Dio
Madden.
Which, again, was interesting because he called TakeOver just last Saturday, and I don't know if that means he's now transitioning back into a wrestler's role. It makes no sense for him to just be a manager there's no, like, this group needs an authority figure. He ain't an authority figure.
Yeah. So we got what Diamond, Caden Carter, Chelsea Green, and Shane Thorne are also the other ones that were mentioned in this list.
And Green and Dijakovic were supposed to come up to the main roster. The plan was they were coming up in the main roster as part of the post WrestleMania call ups until, again, the world hit the fan and plans had to be dramatically altered.
Yeah.
So they don't seem like they were just called up to be bodies in the shot. They will actually be members of this organization when it happens. Because if you also remember back in March and April, at least for Green, she was getting time on Raw and actually getting matches on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So that just fits the plan.
I mean, she can always be part of the Thunderdome.
I mean, why pay people to sit there when people are more than willing to sit in front of their webcam?
Because they got so...
signs.
Yeah, flash obscene signs like, was it Fire, shoot.
Well, I pointed that out during SummerSlam because I did see Fire Velveteen Dream pop up.
Yep.
Late in the pay-per-view.
We had a guy in a KKK outfit.
Yeah, we got a Klansman.
You had someone holding up a Benoit sign.
We got a picture. No, we got
a picture of Benoit. Sorry.
Benoit was on Raw for
the first time.
Interestingly enough, so was Kenny Omega. His first appearance on the show, but something tells me that also got a quick ban.
So what they're doing, they're gonna trust people that they know, fans that they know, like the guy who they called the sign guy, who always had crazy ass signs made up. He'd always have they were just random. He'd carry big portfolio briefcase thing into the arena with just stacks of signs to use during the shows. He's been here in Toledo. I've seen him at events. They're gonna trust people like him and people they know that's been on there before, and they're gonna put all of them on the lower rungs. All the new people they don't think they can trust, they're gonna go all the way up top, where they could just put a picture of Yosemite Sam up there and no one would see it.
I would like to point out to the WWE that this is not a new idea. This is a tried and true method that millions upon millions of websites have used. They're called moderators, and they're used for every online community that has these kinds of issues. When things roll up, you bring somebody in to keep an eye on it who you believe you can trust. And it probably should have been one of those things. They probably have moderators for the website and for the Facebook page. I don't know why they didn't think of having moderators. Why did you actually trust that people would behave themselves? You should know better. You should know you need this level here.
True. Oh. Now, we've seen how crazy it would be if we seen random people old superstars like Ryback.
Oh, I was going to say, random superstars would be interesting, and actually that would be kind of fun, because who was it? Didn't they do a watch-along with SummerSlam on YouTube with Booker T and stuff? It would be interesting for them to not only be doing that watch-along, but have a camera on, so Booker T is just over in the turnbuckle side, reacting as he is live.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But people who are not really in the company anymore, huh?
You're not going to see that.
No, you're not gonna, but you see Ryback sitting there. You see Rusev. For some reason, I think CM Punk may have been in there at one point.
Maybe.
I think I caught a glimpse of him.
Again, was it him or did someone just put a picture of
unless they just used a video, because it was a video, he was moving. It wasn't just a still image, it was a motion. So they could have just uploaded, put a video on. I can put a video on right now. I can change my background and get rid of my entire background and put whatever I want behind me.
Right. It's possible.
You can do whatever you want.
someone just messed with it.
But yeah, they've got some work to do with that. Other work they've got to do is this COVID is reason for the Thunderdome is because of the COVID-19, all this bullcrap has been going on, the coronavirus bullcrap, and it's put a toll on everything since April, March, somewhere in there. So one of the big thing that happened in April, March, was WrestleMania. WrestleMania was canceled. What's also during the week of WrestleMania? The Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
We went a different direction. I looked at you. Go, what's the week of WrestleMania? Usually the Final Four.
No, I don't care about that. So the 2020 class of the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2020 will not be inducted now until 2021. And the inductee would have been Batista, JBL, the Bella Twins. Right there's your reasons why the coronavirus is, because you put the Bella Twins in the Hall of Fame already. Thunder Liger, the British Bulldog, the NWO, Hulk Hogan, Sean Waltman, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, as the class of 2020. Will not be inducted now until 2021. So we're not sure, are they going to add more people to it?
That was my first question. Are you going to just make them the class of 2021 and expand it, or make it clear that this is supposed to be two separate things? Or knowing how these speeches go, do you want to just leave it this thing and actually, if you take a year off of nominating, that gives you an extra year to build up some more headliners. It gives you a chance to kind of re-expand that, because you're starting to run a little bit.
You got to think, there are people, still big names, that could be put in the Hall of Fame. Like The Rock.
That might have been the original plan with him this year, announcing that he is done in the ring. That the first opportunity they would have had to put The Rock in, they would have.
The Rock, Undertaker.
Same thing with Taker. And that's why I say it'll be like now seems like it actually will be final, because you never wanted. It seemed like they didn't want to induct him because they always could go back and ask for one more match.
Yeah, like people, I'm thinking like they all could be headliners. Rock, Taker, Kane. Kane may not be as big of a headliner.
No, but
he could be a second head. He could go in with the Undertaker. Not together, but in the same class. I can see the brothers going in together. So, but that's what we're trying to figure out. Are they going to add more to it? Are they going to just say, okay, the class of 20 and 2021,
I'd say you could fill out your legacy class some, because that was never actually laid out.
They never had the Warrior recipient either.
They didn't have a Warrior Award winner, so they didn't really have a legacy class. So I can say you could just do the things that you would normally do.
I know who's getting the Warrior Award this year. Fauci. That's who's getting.
I mean, one could make an argument. One could make an argument for Dr. Acton. Just for these stupid people she had to deal with on a daily basis.
It's besides the point.
However, what was I going to say?
She had to deal with all these stupid people and all these sensitive people who are too sensitive to wear masks like that. And that's a reason why, according to AJ Styles, we can't go back to the Attitude Era because of sensitive fans.
I'd like, which is it, because in the same interview, it says, I wouldn't want my kids raised on this. Don't know if I'd let my kids watch this. But essentially it's the snowflakes that won't let us do this. So, and I take some disagreement here with that statement, strictly because that means that we're taking, again, everyone goes back and watches the Attitude Era through rose-colored glasses. And if you watch it, and we did, remember, we have done some Attitude Era events in our flashback, and we're watching things going, ooh, that didn't age well.
What are you watching this week?
And that's it.
That's another Attitude Era?
Yeah, just towards the beginning of it, and we will get to that as well. But it will not be a painful event to sit through and watch. Let me tell you. And more importantly, it'll only be about 2 hours.
Woo!
So we get a short Tuesday night.
Woo!
But yeah, no, I like. There's many questions I have for that statement. Going, what would be okay? What can we do now? AJ is a fundamentalist evangelical Christian. So does that mean we should go back to crucifying Stone Cold? Should the Undertaker have him as strong? Should we have a black wedding again in the middle of the ring because that was Attitude Era? Should we have blatantly racist caricatures of groups of people of color in the company?
Right.
We almost did again. Is that what we are saying, that it's the sensitive people that won't let us do that? The company has a pretty racially insensitive history. Probably not a bad idea if we said, we messed up in the past, but let's just not do that again. And not because of snowflakes, because it's actually the right thing to do to not be racist. I know, what a fucking concept.
Done did messed up, Ron.
What did Aaron Rodgers do?
Sucked.
Besides not being able to drink a beer. Besides going undrafted in 2 drafts because we knew how terrible he was going to be, so we didn't bother picking him up yesterday. Twice.
Well, we had picked the worst IC champs.
Yeah, if you're gonna swerve me, I'm gonna tell you right now that I didn't do any work for this. So.
Well, we're not doing them. We're holding off on them because when we did that, we were unaware of having to have another set of picks for another pay-per-view back to back to back. Because we had TakeOver, then we had SummerSlam, and now this week, a week after the biggest show of the summer, we're getting Payback. Another pay-per-view we have to pick for. So Dan's only going to hold his title. Dan won last week. He won on SummerSlam.
That's right.
He won the title belt, which I gave him Friday.
He did. He gave me this, so I've had this back a bit, and it feels so nice to have some weight again on the shoulder. And you know what? I thought about this, and if they continue to do this, not only will I be able to hold the championship, but if we keep doing the quick turnaround pay-per-view bullshit, I can actually set a record. So if this is the pay-per-view schedule we're going to go on, my goal is to become the Raven of the Finisher Predictions Championships.
Win it and lose it.
He held the hardcore title for about 1 billion times, and I think that's what I should aim for. If it ever comes up to it, I'd try and win it and lose it on the same night. That would be an achievement.
I'm missing something on my shelf, damn it. Yeah. And I'm getting it back tonight.
Okay.
It's going to come back home where it belongs.
Whatever you need to tell yourself to get through this is okay. Because when it comes down to it, the performance is in the ring. And more often than not, you've been maybe just good enough to tie me and get by on technicalities.
A win is a win. I don't care what you say. Oh, tie technicalities. I don't care. I won.
You like kissing your cousin. That's cool by me. That's all right.
Oh, my cousins are dead. Anyway, this Katie Vick. Let's get into our picks.
But that's okay. It's the sensitive people that stop us from doing Katie Vick again.
I know.
Man. I hate to say that I lose any respect for AJ for saying something kind of dumb, but that was kind of dumb, boss.
That was kind of dumb. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matches for Payback.
9.
Did I count wrong? Oh yeah, I did.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have
8
matches.
Sorry, one of the things was on 2 lines. I accidentally counted that twice.
Gotcha.
So we've got.
By the way, before we include this, there's a whole possibility that both of us are going to have to eat our fucking words tonight is that neither of us may end up champion at the very end. Lisa, once again, is joining us for our picking competition. She's not going to join us live this week because, unfortunately, she is currently moving houses right now.
And I don't know where she actually lives, and she may have Buckeye Cable. And if she has Buckeye Cable, then she's SOL anyway, because no one with Buckeye Cable has the internet. So
yeah, it's an interesting afternoon.
Sorry.
So, but I do have her picks, and we are all set to go there. So
let's start off with the Riot Squad, Ruby Riot and Liv Morgan versus the Iconics.
And this will be seen on that pre-show.
That we don't do anything with.
Which we'd pass along. The match will probably start around 6:45 this afternoon.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
Dan, who you got?
Well, this match kind of seems like your starting off platform to build another team to get into the women's tag team title picture, because honestly, there's no other reason right now. They haven't given any more reasons to have women's tag team title matches. And on that alone, I mean, I could easily be surprised. But Lisa and I will split on this one, as she will go with the Iconics, and I will go with the Riot Squad.
I'm right there with you with the Riot Squad. I have that down on mine, because I am done with the Iconics. The Iconics.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like it seems every so often they start to kind of push them, and then just going to let them fade in the background. Then try to push them forward again and fade in the background. They can't make up their mind whether or not they actually like this team or not, so I don't trust them. Plus, right now, the Riot Squad is still all shiny and new from coming back, and I still think they want to do stuff with Liv Morgan. So
yes, so Lisa with Iconics, and me and Dan with the Riot Squad on that one. The next match we got Big E versus Sheamus. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Big E because they're giving him that push right now, that solo push.
That alone, apparently, Sheamus is your gatekeeper now that he's no longer a threat in the tag team division. So we have Big E across the board.
You got it too? All right. All three of us with Big E, Lisa, Dan, and me. Got Matt Riddle versus King Corbin.
And this has kind of been through. Actually, we were surprised that this wasn't sort of attached to the undercard of SummerSlam, because it's been a couple of months that they've been doing
we've got
this. Basically since Riddle came up.
Shorty G on this as well, kind of being King Corbin's lackey.
Who?
Chad Gable.
Oh. Man. There's a kid who just has had all of his potential run into the ground.
It's been buried. Who do you got in this one, Dan?
Oh, Matt Riddle. Yeah.
Riddle. It's all right, same here. Put it down for Riddles. We got Rey Mysterio and Dominic versus Seth and Murphy. I'm going to go with Dominic and Rey.
I neglect to mention that Lisa also had Matt Riddle. And me,
I said that.
And Lisa also is with you with the Mysterios.
Mysterios, yep.
But it's not unanimous. Unanimous?
Wow,
not a
you
unanimous
can
pick.
speak English. You're going with Seth and Murphy?
I will go with Seth and Murphy. And what changed my mind? The fact that tomorrow night, Seth and Rey will rematch one-on-one live on Raw, in just throwing away a possible pay-per-view co-main event a month or two down the line, unless they really are trying to accelerate these two into an October showdown at Hell in a Cell, now that they are actually in a place where they can do Hell in a Cell matches.
All right.
Pay-per-view's coming up in October. I believe I was talking about this all the way back to the horror show, and saying this is the type of feud that is perfect for Hell in a Cell. Blow off in Hell in a Cell. Please, for the love of God, let these two fight in Hell in a Cell.
What's in September?
Right now, nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
Again, my brain would say Unforgiven, but I think it's been something else since like 2008.
Because I was thinking, Seth got that win last Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
My point of view was Rey and Dominic were going to get this win. with probably maybe a quick roll up, schoolboy something really quickly, which is gonna piss Seth off. Something's gonna go into in September for whatever pay-per-view that is gonna be. It's gonna come out in like a draw or a DQ or nothing's gonna be resolved, and then it's gonna go into Hell in a Cell.
Well,
because you got to have that one win each. You got to have that blow off match. So that's why my view is Ray and Dominic winning this one.
Perhaps this has been this is also at least recently September's been the Clash of Champions.
Okay. So with Dominic and Ray versus Seth and Murphy, me and Lisa with the Mysterios, and Dan with Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. Lisa's got Keith Lee. What do you say, Dan?
I will be completely honest with you, and I will show you that this is the match that has confounded me the most. It's the only blank on my sheet. I do not know because it makes no sense for either of them to lose.
Yeah.
Randy Orton. Well, again, we were convinced Randy Orton was going to win the title and head with it through until WrestleMania. Wouldn't figure he would deal with Keith Lee right off the bat.
I have a feeling that somehow Drew McIntyre is going to distract Randy.
Randy. That had occurred to me.
Even though Drew is injured.
He almost had his skull fractured.
Yeah. You see that last punt where it was nowhere near his head?
Matt Jackson did.
Yeah, I know. If you didn't know, we'll see if we can find it. I forget who was throwing the punches on AEW, but he wasn't even hitting the guy. He was punching his own arm, and it was clear as day.
I think it was Phoenix.
And Randy Orton made a comment on it. Randy Orton also made a comment on Matt Jackson's flip where he hit nobody. So when this happened and Randy Orton was nowhere near Drew's head, Matt Jackson had to reply and put his 2 cents in. That's kind of what we're talking about right there. And like I said, I think even though he's injured with the punch to the head, Drew is going to come and makes an appearance and screws Randy over. And so I'm going to go ahead and give it to who I would want to win it, which is Keith Lee.
That's the thing I would like to see, because you can imagine the boost that Keith Lee can get in his first full week up on the main roster. So I'll agree with you guys.
Keith Lee.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And speaking of Keith Lee, if you watched, you realized on Monday Night Raw, his outfit kind of changed a little bit. His theme music changed.
Oh.
And people were pissed.
That's because his theme music was a banger.
And he said, "No need to complain about it. Let me handle it." That was his reply on tweet. So he's not happy with it either, and he's trying to make it change.
So he's
like, "Let me take care of it.
Give it some time. They'll push for a remix."
Yeah. So, all right. Next match, we have the U.S. title, Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley. I don't want Apollo Crews to lose it, but I have a feeling he's going to.
Yeah.
It's going to go to the Hurt Business.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. He can spend some time chasing. What would be nice, what would be useful, is if they got people with Apollo Crews so they could continue this, because the Hurt Business isn't really messing with anybody else at the moment.
No.
It's all focused on Apollo Crews. So if anything, while Apollo Crews is chasing his belt back down, it gives them an opportunity to put some more people into that feud with it. So we can have some more. So Apollo Crews and somebody else against Lashley and MVP.
Exactly.
And Shelton Benjamin, your 24/7 European hardcore heavyweight.
I don't think he is right now.
Do you lose it? Is it
Tozawa? Tozawa got it.
With that, it is hard to keep track, and it's
very hard to keep track of. It's changing constantly because it's 24/7, 365. All right, so we all have Lashley on that one. All three, Dan, me, and Lisa here have Lashley winning the U.S. title. This one, we've been waiting for this, and we really hope that it happens. This is the women's tag team titles. Bayley and Sasha, the champions, versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Not really wanting to see Baszler and Jax, win it, but we're waiting to see Bayley and Sasha implode. Finally.
They have been building this for the better part of, almost 2 years now.
So I'm waiting for them
between these two friends
to lose the belts. Sasha now having no title. And them to
pissed as all hell and then,
blow up.
And she ends up facing her former friend for the title. So
it may not happen tonight. It may happen Monday. It may happen Friday, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, you started
soon.
In this match.
It's already started. It started months ago with Bayley being like, Sasha can take you on tonight. And just throwing Sasha into a match where she's got nothing on but her street clothes.
Yeah.
So it's all started months ago. They are slow playing this.
Which, again, is the right way to handle a situation like this, but eventually you have to pay it off. And it's just been, the tension started when they first won the belts, like January of 19. Like, it's literally there's been an underlying tension.
Oh, yeah.
And slow playing it has worked, but at some point you have to pay this off, or no one's going to care anymore.
Exactly.
The boy who cried whatsoever. But this is the type of thing. You lose the tag titles. There starts to be some sort of some physical altercation after that. You try to patch things up. Eventually, someone gets thrown through the barbershop window, and boom, you have a properly exploded tag team angle to go with forward.
So Lisa's taking Shayna and Nia, as am I, Dan.
As am I.
All right, we are triple threat there. Everyone's taking the same on that one as well. Well, it's been that way for the same past 2 matches. All right, now the final match of the night, the Universal title, no holds barred. Current champion being The Fiend versus Braun Strowman. Sorry, Bald Strowman, according to Dan.
Come on,
and
get with it.
The big dog, Roman Reigns.
Yep. With Paul Heyman.
Now, if Roman Reigns win, are we going to get Paul Heyman doing his introductions from now on?
I hope so.
The reigning, defending, undisputed.
You gotta do the right
The big dog.
Undisputed. Where he just
Can't do it.
soaks the entire
microphone
top cover on
sleeve.
the mic.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and I don't want to do it. I'm going to go with Roman. Sorry, Fiend.
Guess what? As much as I love The Fiend, we are unanimous that the Universal title moves, which means the week after SummerSlam, we are calling for 3 title changes. That's 2020 in wrestling. What can I tell you? However, so once again, at least between you and I, everything comes down to the Mysterios and Rollins angle here. Where things go forward from there.
Damn it.
Actually, the Iconics win, the Iconics win, and there's a chance we kiss this whole thing goodbye, because we all see this very well, which unfortunately tells you that all the angles after the biggest show of the year, where everything's supposed to start in a new direction, almost all the angles are pretty predictable.
So if the Iconics win, does that make us tie?
If the Iconics win, if we start the night and the Iconics win, we have to find some way to get this to Lisa, because we both have the Riot Squad, so we can't get that win back. It doesn't matter what happens between you and her. Both have Mysterio, so she'd still be 1 up on you and 2 up on me. That means, for the first time, that this championship is outside of the main control of the Finisher Championship Committee. It is a tragedy. We can't let this happen.
No, and she can't. Should we even allow her to have it? Her ass couldn't even show up on the podcast day to do it because she had to move. I don't care if you're moving the frickin' White House. You join this show if you want this belt.
Wow, someone thinks a lot of himself. And I say that as the reigning predictions champion.
You're reigning, defending, undisputed.
Yeah, actually, this is when you can't, because I have the numbers. That one's undisputed.
Exactly.
The current. See if I can.
Let's see if you can do it.
I can pull out a J. Well, I was doing something else. See if I can do the JB style. The current reigning and defending.
You finish it? What's the tell?
No.
Okay.
Now, what dick announces himself?
That guy.
I would take bookings though if any indie promoters in the tri-state area needs a ring announcer.
That guy right there, pointing at you on the screen.
But I didn't, so I was trying to figure out what in your background you were pointing to.
I was pointing
Is that the Honey Smacks frog?
To you.
But I didn't. So.
I know. All right, so make sure you would join us here this evening. Right around 7 o'clock. We'll start probably maybe a minute or two before. Not much. We're going to start pretty much right on time with the pay-per-view.
We might even sync up before we go live. That's how far out we might be.
We might. It all depends on how things happen.
It's worth the shot saying.
We'll do our best. So that's the show. Thanks for joining us.
Before we go, because I saw you blow completely over it, and I wanted to at least say this, but we would, as a show, would also like to extend our condolences to the Armstrong family.
Thank you. I moved it to do it as the last thing, and then I completely forgot. Sorry about that.
I saw you were wrapping up, so I figured I'd jump in there. As the patriarch of the Armstrong family, Bullet Bar Armstrong, passing away this week at the age of 80 after a battle with cancer. Even if you
want
don't
anything.
What?
He didn't do any. He didn't want chemo. He didn't want anything. He took no medication.
Oh wow! He decided I'm bad taking this on my own.
Yeah. Scott Armstrong tweeting today. I forget when this was. It was on March 25th. Today, my 80-year-old dad at WWE Hall of Famer Bullet Bob asked if he could come over and get a workout. He's got bone cancer in his ribs, shoulder, and prostate, and chose not to go through any treatment, his choice. I put 30 pounds on there, and he said, give me 100 pounds. It's got a picture of him, working out, with, pulling down the weights. And I had no idea that Road Dogg was one of his kids.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea until seeing the tweet.
They have 4 sons, and all went into the business in some form. Brian Scott. Why am I blanking on Candyman? Holy crap! In some way or other, he had 4 sons went into the business, and that tweet right there is emblematic of all the stories you hear about Bullet Bob. And him just being the toughest, most determined, most hard-willed guy. He's one of those. I think I had heard the name and then never actually saw him until he had a run with BG in 2005, 2006 in TNA against Conan, the LAX.
Which I got to see a video. Bullet Bob, Armstrong, and Conan arm wrestled inside a 15-foot high steel cage.
Yes, and this man is in his late 60s, and he walks out and he's jacked more than Vince was jacked when he was coming out bodybuilding in his 60s. You're going, that dude, at that point, the Bullet was the epitome of grandpa strength.
You got, tweets from Matt Hardy, tweets from Chris Jericho, AEW tweeting, Mick Foley, Triple H, Punk, everyone tweeting, condolences.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a loss for the wrestling community there.
So I know it was not necessarily a name that a lot of fans, especially
fans. And I did not mean to. I apologize. I'm like, you know what? Let's just throw this into the middle. Let's leave this for the last thing to talk about.
Yeah, that's why I had placed it.
Completely missed it. I apologize.
I want to make sure we got that in. So, another great we lost here in 2020 as well. It was a rough week between the Bullet and Chadwick Boseman just yesterday. Man, fuck this year.
The crappy 2020 sucks.
And more importantly, fuck cancer.
That is right. Screw cancer. So, real quick, actually, before we take off, I know I've already tried to start to close the show. Tonight will be our final stream, I think, except for Tuesday. The 1st is actually the final thing we're doing.
We're going to go ahead and take a bit of a sabbatical for a couple weeks.
We will be back on roughly around probably the 19th or the 26th. Not 100% sure yet.
Keep an eye on the Facebook page, and we'll let you know.
We'll definitely let you know exactly if it's the 19th or the 26th that we'll be back for another podcast. And we'll let you know what's going on with that. But we will have our podcast, our live stream tonight for Payback, and our flashback on Tuesday. So make sure you check those out, and also check out our friends at what's your other podcast?
Oh, give me a chance to plug Fairly Kick-Ass. Over at the Fairly Kick-Ass podcast, fairlykickass.com is the website to know, because just yesterday we dropped an entire new list of albums and reviews of all the new music coming out. We just did this past week our review of August 2020 in music, and I will give you a spoiler, and I probably took some heat, but I was highly surprised, and in a good way, with Taylor Swift's radio singles, and they rated high for me.
Oh.
Ready for this? Taylor Swift, indie chick.
So you're a Swiftie.
Work that through your mind. I like this album a lot.
Okay.
And it's surprising. It comes from a different place. I gave high marks to her song with Bon Iver, which right there should lay out the indie cred. Anyway, ton of music stuff. So if you like to listen to music at all, you listen to three guys argue about music. And more importantly, our next podcast is going to be all about guilty pleasures. So this could get very interesting and very embarrassing.
And also make sure you check out our friends over at Comic Chaos Podcast. Find them on the iHeartRadio app, Facebook, Twitter, Comic Chaos. All about comic books. I have a feeling they're going to be doing something with Black Panther with the passing this yesterday.
I say I'd be willing to bet that a good chunk of their next show is devoted to Chadwick Boseman and his role within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So
correct. And just a tease, along with another guy, Dan and I have something that's going to be coming out soon, the 17th of September.
We do have so we have a hard date now. That's right.
17th of September, our first episode is going to debut. It's a YouTube video. It's not a podcast. It's a YouTube channel, a YouTube show. So that's all we can tell you.
That's it. You got to keep an eye.
Keep an eye. We'll share it on our page.
That's, I think, the best way to keep abreast of things going on over the next couple weeks. Just keep an eye on. Get to the Facebook page at the Finisher Podcast. Hit like. Or follow. I think it's follow on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So we pop up in your feed, and trust me, random stuff will happen over the next couple of weeks that will end up on our Facebook page. There may be some bonus podcast material that may come out in the next couple of weeks.
You have to wait and find out. So like I said, September 17th, the debut episode of a certain show is going to debut on YouTube. We'll be talking about it on our Facebook page. We'll share the links so you can go there and like that page and enjoy this.
You're a fucking sadist, man.
I know I am. I know. And I'm okay with it. So until later on this evening, we'll see you guys right here in about 4 hours, 5 hours. A little over 4 hours. We'll see you guys in about 5 hours. Until then, see you.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here. I gotta buy some beer.